I built a new desk and I am super excited about it. I still got my old desk. It's just 8 feet by 4 feet and it's too big, so I needed something that fit the space a little bit better. This desk I cut into an L shape so it would fit in the corner better, less space taken up this direction, but still a lot of space going that direction. I still have space for my 3 monitors set up. I still have my computer on my desk, which I really wanted, at least for now. We may change that in the future. And then I put my lava lamps on my desk, and what I'm really proud of is not breaking that lava lamp. This Vivo mount for my SM7B. So I'm excited about this. I mounted it behind the screens. The vertical pole that comes with the Vivo is only good for 27-inch screens. The bottom of the screen is touching the desk, and this is just barely over the screen. You couldn't do a 32-inch screen with this arm like this. And I had the arm mounted here in this corner, but I didn't like the way that looked, and it didn't ever get out of my way. I like this because I can push it out of my way and then of course knock over the lava lamp. What I'm really excited about is the rack space. Now, I've been working with 8 rack units for years. I'm not trying to complain, but I didn't have any room. I have 14 rack units under each side of the desk. Tons of room for expansion, tons of room for drawers. It's modular. I can put 1U drawers in, I could put 4U drawers in, so whatever kind of equipment I want to stick in here, I can store in here. Audio interface in here, preamp, compressor, maybe a multipressor, maybe an EQ, whatever kind of outboard gear I want for my audio rack. I know it's overkill, but it's stuff I'm into, you know, it's a hobby. I can finally mount my Furmans. I've got one on each side, lava lamp plugged into that one. I have my computer and everything plugged into this one. Your rack equipment is 19 inches on center, right? 19 inches from screw to screw. That means that you want the insides of your box to be 19¼ inches. First, I was trying to create the rack unit inside the box to get the measurements right, and it's so much easier to do that if you just know the dimensions. Dimensions for this box are 27 and a half inches. This is an 1.5 inches thickness. My goal was 29 inches because that's pretty typical desk height. The depth of this table is 25 inches. This is a little more deep because of this 3/4 inch plywood trim that I put on the front. This actually also acts as reinforcement. The depth is 23 inches. If I pull this all the way forward, there still is a gap. Even with this table pushed all the way back, there's still about 1.25 inch gap for me to run cables out from behind. The same for this one. These boxes are identical for the most part, except this one was built a little bit better because it was the second one I built. I reinforced everything with corner brackets. Funny story, not really funny. Kind of traumatic. It was funny. When I was drilling holes in the corner brackets to make them big enough for the screws that I wanted to use number 10s and number 8s, and the holes were only big enough for number 6s. I was holding the bracket with my thumb and trying to drill a hole a little bit bigger. I was trying to auger it out. And of course, you know, your drill bit's going and it catches, the bracket spins around like this. Well, my thumb's holding it and I cut my thumb pretty bad. It's healed up now. After that, I bought some clamps and I clamped down the corner bracket. I drilled the holes. I bought some proper bits. Don't use wood bits on steel or aluminum. You want to use steel bits, Milwaukee carbides, which are great. Just be careful when you're doing stuff like that. Now that I have these boxes built, I am actually really excited to maybe build a rack PC and maybe put my computer in this rack. We shall see. That may be future content. Block some of the fan noise from my microphone and so on. And, you know, all the fun stuff. This desk is just sitting lightly on top of these boxes. And because I'm not the perfect carpenter, I didn't make the boxes perfectly level. So what I did to counteract my imperfections in my construction is I bought these cheap little play mats or garage mats or whatever you want to call them, and I stuck them on top and below to prevent the stain that I put on the wood to get on the carpet, and also to be spongy, allow for some give in the design so the table's not teetering all the time. You know, that would be really annoying. I put that on both sides to kind of reduce that vibration, that teetering. You can cut these to size so you don't really see them, but it keeps the stain from getting on the carpet, because wood stain does not come out of carpet. Put that back on there. Now, I just took a sheet of plywood and I cut it into an L shape. But before I did that, I had to weigh down this sheet of plywood because it was bowed in the wrong direction. When you want to put weight on a desk and you don't want to support it with legs underneath, because then my knees are going to be smacking those legs, and that's annoying. So I put some concrete Quikrete bag that was 80 pounds on the plywood, and I flipped the plywood over so the nice side was facing down, and then I weighted it down so it would bow in that direction. So now when I flip it back over and I put the nice side up, it's bowed up this way. So when I put weight down on this way, it straightens out. But I didn't just stop there. I actually put these pieces of 1x4, and I made sure that these were also bowed upwards, and I put these 1x4s underneath here to support. So now I have 1.5 inches of desk thickness, and that added support, but it's also bowed support. So when I put weight down on this desk, the bow of the plywood presses down onto 1x4. It actually acts as like a spring system in a car. It can withstand a lot of weight. I've actually stood on this desk. And then Maddie had this great idea of taking these trim pieces and putting this trim all the way around so you didn't see the edges of the plywood. These trim pieces didn't go all the way down, and I thought about sanding this, but then I was like, yeah, you can't see it from the important angles, so it's whatever. I got kind of lazy there at the end. It looks good. I'm happy with it. It turned out better than I thought it would. I stained the entire desk in early American, and then I sealed it with Behr, and I'm not super happy with the Behr. I wish I had spent the extra money on Bonatraffic, but when you're talking about building a desk yourself, you are talking about building it for a reason. Why are you building it for yourself? For me, I had a couple reasons. Budget, and I wanted it to be my way. I wanted it to fit in my space. I didn't want to buy some IKEA thing online, it be MDF, and not support a ton of weight, not be the shape or size I needed. I wanted to cut it to my exact space. I've got this door over here, has to swing clear of the desk, which it doesn't right now because the desk isn't pushed up against the wall. It meets up to the edge of that window. But I also wanted the desk to sit on top of a rack unit so I could have all my rack gear easily accessible, as well as be able to put drawers in there if I wanted to. Now, I looked at the Alex drawers and I was gonna buy those. My order got canceled, so I went ahead and built myself 2 rack units, and I couldn't be happier. Now that I know how to build the box, I'm glad I did. I want to talk a little bit more about my disappointment with the Behr Sealer. It's very soft. It gets marked and scratched very easily. And I don't know if that was because of the way I applied it, cured it in my garage, or if it was because of just the material itself. But it's very soft, and I can easily push it around on the desk and wrinkle it. And then, of course, if I drop anything on the desk, it either dents or completely cuts the seal. Scooting around my computer on the desk completely peeled up the seal. And this wouldn't happen with Bonatraffic because Bonatraffic comes with a hardener and it becomes hard as plastic. This is still soft. I guess I should have spent the $100 on the Bonatraffic. The problem I have with Bonatraffic is you're very limited on your application times. So it was going to be very difficult for me to put a coat on, go to bed, go to work, come home in the evening, put another coat on. I did that with this and I wasn't happy with the results. We may sand this down and redo it. Bone of Traffic, definitely worth the extra money. But speaking of money, this is not a sponsor spot. I wish I had not spent so much on this desk. I could have bought an IKEA desk for in the neighborhood of $500 because of lumber costs right now. This plywood cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $80, and I needed 2 sheets of that by the time I made all these boxes. I think I spent somewhere around $30 on the trim. 1x4s, $16, $50 or $60 for all the fasteners. The stain I think I spent somewhere in the neighborhood of $30 to $40 on. The sealing coat was somewhere $30 to $40. I'll just do the math, I'll put it up here. I could have just bought a desk for that, but it wouldn't have been the shape and it wouldn't have been rack mounts, and this is what I wanted. So I'm happy with this. But by the time I spent the money on the tools, you know, this was $60, and then I bought 2 of these. I bought a skill saw and a sander and sandpaper and all the accessories and batteries and whatever. So I spent like $1,000 on this. I could have got it cheaper, but now I have those tools. I can use them in the future. The desk is the way I want it, and I'm happy. But I overspent to get the job done. But the job is done really well. I don't regret it. What do you guys think? One more thing I wanted to show you. I bought a Ubiquiti UDM Pro. So I'm going to be making a video about that. Right now I haven't got one of their access points because they are out of stock on their access points. So I'm still using that Netgear router in AP mode. Anyway, more content coming. I'll see you guys in the next one.